And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Renee Santos.
Mercedes Benz. I got lots of style. Check my gold diamond rings. I can go for miles if you know what I mean.
Hello, Metropolitan Room. Fuck yeah. You guys look amazing. I have no opinion on what you actually look like. Just the fact that you're in these seats makes you look amazing. I was a little nervous with the snowstorm. I wasn't really prepared. Clearly, look at what shoes I'm wearing. My feet are actually ice cold. My knees may buckle, and I may be like Bambi in a few minutes, just because I have no circulation. Oh my God. I love it. I love being here in New York City. I don't care. Fuck it, right? Fuck the weather. No one cares. Oh, this is great. I love it. I can't believe you guys came out. Seriously, the first time I did stand-up comedy, it wasn't really like a performance. It was more like a conversation. It was just me and one other person. I sort of felt awkward having a mic. You know, like, this is totally weird. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh. But you guys like my outfit? I bought this for you guys. I went with the tight jeans because I figured if I'm not funny, you guys will still enjoy the show. Not that I really care. I try to not get caught up in that whole image thing. I just moved here from Los Angeles. I lived there for 13 years, and there was a lot of pressure with looks and nostalgia, you know what I mean? And people would put that in your face and flaunt it, and they weren't really sharing their art. It was it was more of you were drawn by the aesthetic, and I'm not gonna buy into any of that shit. These are my abs. You can take the girl out of LA, but you can't take LA out of the girl, right? Fuck. I do love being in New York City because I've been able I'm pursuing a lot more live performance, stand-up comedy, and theater, and that's been really great. Because in LA, I auditioned a lot commercially, and I did TV and film. You guys may recognize me from the show 11th Hour, where I said, "Bob, can I get a price check over there?" And that's it. That was it. I played a crispy melty pizza in a Domino's commercial. That was all in Spanish, only for Telemundo, and I don't speak a lick of Spanish. I was awkward commercially, I didn't really know how to audition for commercials. I had this one audition for a Taco Bell commercial, and they would give you, the thing about commercials is none of that shit's actually realistic, right? No one's gonna be live, clarity, and clear. No one says that in real life, right? You know? So I'm auditioning for this Taco Bell commercial, and the setup for it is, you driving along in your car, and then you see a Taco Bell billboard, and you just really want the Taco Bell, right? So then you roll down your window, and you have a reaction to the sign. Okay, Renee, are you ready? I'm like, okay, I got this. So I get in my chair, and I'm sitting there, and the casting director's like, go. And I'm like, Miss Santos, what are you doing? I'm like, I turn the music on. No, I did. And when I drive and I turn, that's not right. All right. Yeah. Not bad. Okay, go again. I got this. So he goes again. They do. Okay, Renee, you see the sign. Renee, what are you driving, 1986 Honda Civic? I'm like, actually, 2008 Hyundai Accent. It's almost the same. It's everybody else came in and auditioned and did this. I'm like, oh, electric cars. My bad. I auditioned for this Listerine commercial one time, and Listerine had just come out with toothpaste, which was amazing because they've had mouthwash for freaking ever. It's when Eggos finally came out with syrup. You're like, wow, that took a while. But so I had this audition, and my acting coach always told me, you know what, you gotta make a different choice. If you really wanna book the part, you gotta do what no one else is gonna do in the room. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, everybody else is gonna audition for a toothpaste commercial like this, right? It's what everybody does. So I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna brush my tongue. I'm gonna be like super authentic. I'm gonna own it. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be present. So I get ready, and the casting director looks at me, and I'm sorry, Renee, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I get what you, I see what you're trying, I don't know, I'm a lesbian, I don't even know, I never even done that shit, I'm not familiar, my bad. Commercials are just not my thing, right? Oh, so I moved to New York City. My LA friends are giving me so much shit right now that I moved here, because when I moved here in May of last year, they're like, oh, you like New York City now. You like New York City now. But wait until the winter. Wait until the winter. Oh, I can't believe you would move to New York City because of the weather. Because of the weather. Why would you move to New York City because of the weather? I'm like, I'm pretty sure that there's no human being on the entire planet that moves to New York City as a weather-based decision. Right? We move here for the culture and the intellectual superiority. Let's be honest, right? Yeah. I love how like chill and laid back New York is, you know? It doesn't have that pressure in LA was like too much. I mean, I rolled up in Los Angeles 13 years ago with like 40 pounds heavier, with like a 7-Eleven Slurpee and a cigarette hanging out of my mouth, and they were like, you can't come in here. Here it's cocaine in a treadmill. I'm like, my bad. I'm on it. You know, I did it because I'm a team player. But yeah, I love how like chill it is here, you know? Like it's most indicative of like the lack of pressure here in New York City, like on trash day, you know? It's so true, because I'm like tangled up. It's because I can't feel my feet. I'm like wrapped around the cord. It definitely like trash, because LA, like there's a lot of rules on trash day, you know? Like there's a black trash can and a purple trash can and an orange trash can and a blue trash can, and they all got to be in the right row, and then there's a green trash can, it's got to be in the far right, and the two black trash cans got to be on the far left, and the blue's got to go next to it, and then there's a purple trash can that you actually recycle styrofoam, and nowhere else in the country do they actually recycle styrofoam, but they do in LA, and then you got to make sure it's not 18 inches away from the curb or they won't take it, and you get a ticket, and all the trash bags have to be inside with the lids down, and if it peaks up at all, they won't take it, and they'll give you a fine. You're like, fuck, it's trash! God. In New York City, they're just like trash day, just a bunch of pile, just throw it on the street like, fuck it. No one cares. There's no like socioeconomic distinction between the piles of trash. That's what I'm talking about. Oh man, I don't get it. You know, New York City, the thing about New York City that I'm not loving so much, I gotta be honest, guys, the cost of living. Cost of living's been a little bit difficult for me. You know, like when I first got here, I was like looking for places in like bumfuck Astoria and like Far Rockaway. There's a reason why they call that Far Rockaway, right? It's like not fucking close to anything. That's true. I've learned to put water up here now, because the first time I did comedy, I'd get really bad cotton mouth, and then for the rest of the show, I was like this. I'm like, that's not gonna work out for anybody, right? But yeah, the cost of living, it's just like, I was looking at places, and I was like, well, I could have my bathtub in my kitchen if I wanted to, right? And they were like, Renee, you could, you wanna just like check to see if you can afford this place? My girlfriend's like, I'm like, I don't know if I can. You know, but let me I'll call my bank real quick. I could probably afford this place. So I call my bank, and they're like, you have $56 overdrawn. I'm like, oh shit, I guess I'm not taking this place. I'm not taking this place. So I moved to Jersey. Woo! That's what I'm talking about. Jersey in the house. I love it. I love me some dirty Jersey. I'm pretty sure the first time I drove down the New Jersey Turnpike, I got shingles and diabetes this year. True story. I love it. I love living in Jersey though because I run in Liberty State Park. Do you guys know Liberty State Park? Have you ever seen? Right on. In the Liberty Mutual commercials, it's like the landscape that when you're looking at the statue, it's the landscape behind it. So I just look at the ass of the statue. You know what I mean? And I get that like proverbial fuck you from New York every time I run by it. Like, you can't afford to live here. Kiss my ass. Fucking Jersey. I love it. It's funny because when I tell people in New York that I actually live in New Jersey, I find people bizarrely confessing to me that they also live in Jersey. Like they're drug dealers. They're like, you live in Jersey City? I live in Hoboken. It's amazing to me, right? What'd you say? Frank Sinatra. Oh my God. Oh, I love me some Jersey though. I'm really digging being here in New York. You know what I love about New York City? Public transit. Right? Public transit's great. I've like read books and stuff because I don't have to drive around. I don't do well in my car. Yeah, I did actually take my car here because it's 2008 Hyundai Accent and she just the right amount of shitty. You know what I mean? So she like a perfect city car. I brought it here. Let me be honest. I bought the car like 2 years ago, so it's new. Well, it's new to me. And they made me put $4,000 down on a $5,200 car. It was like, what else is there left to finance? The bumper? I'm taking this shit with me. But yeah, I don't do well in cars. I've gotten myself in a lot of trouble. I really have. Like 6 months before I left Los Angeles, I got in a major car accident and I got pulled over by a cop that looked like Cartman from South Park. It's funny, right? This was my issue. I could just like imagine the cop pulling me over and like giving me the ticket in Cartman's voice. Can you imagine? Comes up to the side of my car. Excuse me, ma'am. Do you know why I pulled you over? You was going 65 miles an hour in 45 miles an hour zone. Clearly you do not respect the laws of authority. I was like, oh my gosh, it's not Cartman. Fucking not Cartman. He got so pissed at me. By the time he did come up to the side of the car, he was like, so what's your story? I'm like, well, I wanted to be a ballerina when I was 6. He didn't like it. And when I got in this like really bad car accident, and the crazy part about it is it wasn't even my fault. It wasn't my fault. Like this crazy woman like slammed into me in the middle of an intersection, but I have this weird like fear of cops. I don't know what it is. Like something happens and I feel like I'm all of a sudden like a teenage black boy that's reaching for Skittles. It's like I don't know what happens. It's a lot. I panic. So the cop, so this lady like rips into my car, then she like backs up, smashes the front end of my car, and then just drives away. And I was like, oh, that bitch. And the cop comes over to me, and he tells me that the license plate of this woman car had gotten embedded in the front end of my car. So I was like, yeah. He's like all ready to go get her, just wants to ask me a few questions. So he says, Miss Santos, can you tell me what she looked like? And I said, she was probably Hispanic, 40s-ish is my guess. He said, okay, can you speculate why she drove away? Could she have maybe been under the influence? And I said, oh, well, she was Hispanic, so she probably didn't have insurance. But then I was like, no, No. See, I can say that because I don't know if you noticed, officer, but my name is Renee Santos. There's a rule, like, if you that thing, like I am Latina, so like if you're Latina, then you can also make fun of another Latina. It's kind of like a black person being able to say nigger and a gay person being able to say dyke. Like you're allowed to do it's like a free pass. Do you know what I'm saying? Where it don't even make you actually. That's what I'm saying. So it's not even like I'm not actually racist in any stretch of the imagination. But the weird thing is, Santos is my last name's actually Portuguese because my dad is from Portugal and that. So my last name's actually European. My mom is the one who's. But you know what? She was probably intoxicated. Yeah. Probably good guess. Just like dig myself a bigger hole. So yeah, it's so much better that I actually am on public transit. I'm going through this phase too where I'm reading a lot of self-help books, you know? I'm like into like Eckhart Tolle and Brene Brown and like, I love it. I love all this stuff. I was at the Barnes & Noble and now I can read on the train, it's great. I was at the Barnes & Noble the other day and I was buying an Eckhart Tolle book. And you know what? One of the things I do love about both New York and LA is people are very aware of their stuff. Like everybody's like working on their crap. Like the rest of the country is just a bunch of Homer Simpsons. They're just like, you know? But it's like they take all the introspective people and they kind of knock them to the left and right coast. So this section is like filled with people. And I see this woman grab Codependent No More. And she grabbed 2 copies. I was like, I got you, girl. I'm working on my shit, too. I understand. We all got our stuff. Thank God. Oh. I love it, though. The crazy thing, though, about living back here now is I'm originally from Massachusetts. Are there any other massholes here? Yeah, you're from Massachusetts? What up? And my sister. She from Massachusetts, because she my sister. Yeah, give it up. Let's give it up for my sister. But yeah, so now that I live back here, the expectation for visitation has really increased. You know, like that was the great thing about me living in Los Angeles is especially around the holidays, I would come home for one of the holidays, either like Thanksgiving or Christmas, you know, because I'm like, oh, it costs a lot of money and I'm a stand-up comic and oh, I can't come. I would show up for Christmas with a bow on my head like, here's your fucking present, I'm here. I don't know what to tell you. But now it's like, I gotta go. And it's totally annoying because, you know, like, you know, there's always that one family member that kind of fucks things up for everybody else. You know what I'm talking about? If you guys can't think of that person, you're it. But in my family, it's my mom. My mom is totally like 3 scoops of crazy and not even, like my mom's not even discreetly crazy. She kind of hides crazy like a bikini hides an extra 45 pounds. You know, it's like really super, she's like one of those super homophobic, like don't walk on her ladder, 7 years of bad luck, like crazy superstitious. My mom is like a Cuban immigrant that like moved here during the Cuban Missile Crisis, like on a freaking boat, but like never told us that we were Hispanic and like doesn't speak a lick of Spanish and wanted to have like perfect little American babies and like she crazy, complete denial of everything that she is, and she now has lived here for 35 years, so she actually sounds like a New Jersey Jew. It's very confusing for everybody. But my mom's always like throwing Bible verses into random conversations or like without any context and no one's asking for it. Like I sent her an email one time just saying my flight number is 414 and she responds back, good to know, in honor of our Savior, comma, Mom. I'm like, that's just my flight. I don't know why Jesus came up in the conversation. That's just when I'm coming home. That's weird. She freak. I don't think my mom's read the Bible. I don't. I don't think most Christians have read the Bible. I think most Christians read the Bible like I read an internet software license. They just scroll to the bottom and click, I agree. My mom's not even aware how like hyper religious that she even is. Like recently she left her cell phone in my car and she's an iPhone because everybody is an iPhone. And so I returned her phone and I said, Mom, here's your phone. She's like, oh, how did you know it was my phone? My mother has on her lock screen that like morbid picture of Jesus with like the crown of thorns and like the bloody like dying like scary Jesus picture as her lock screen, right? Like, Mom, I knew it was your phone because I'm pretty sure you're the only person on the planet that has their very own screensaver. Just saying. Fuck. My mom doesn't deal with the whole like gay thing really well, so that was a little nerve-wracking because this year I wanted to bring home, my girlfriend, and that always goes really well. Yeah, all right, you can clap for that. It's my girlfriend right there, Janet Costello. Yes, I wanted to bring my girlfriend. And I was nervous about this because usually during like a holiday, my mom tries to negotiate my sexuality out of me. Like for Lent this year, she was like, well, Renee, you know what? You've given up gluten, you've given up sugar before, How about this year, you give up your sexuality, huh? You can do anything for 40 days, Renee, anything for 40 days. I'm like, Mom, you know what you should give up for Lent? Hope. She don't get it. She doesn't. So as you can imagine, I'm a little bit nervous about like bringing my girlfriend home, especially because this year is sort of like a big year for me now that I'm 30 years old. My girlfriend and I are trying to have a baby. Thank you. You can clap for that. You can clap for that. And it's a very interesting, because the thing is, like, I couldn't just show up at a holiday event one day and like Janet's just pregnant and like we don't have the same excuse that like straight people have. I can't be like, oh, I don't know what happened. I got drunk, the condom broke, and here we are. Shit. It requires a lot more explanation, So I'm like, I feel like I gotta properly prepare for this, And I'd love for her to, not be my girlfriend and make an honest woman out of her. And I thought, my mom has been divorced 797 times, so she's got like a bunch of rings and stuff. But I would never ask my mom for a ring because, let's be honest, my mom is Kim Davis the shit out of my life. She won't give me that ring. But yeah, lesbians getting pregnant. There's a lot more customer service involved in lesbians getting pregnant. It's a lot. It's a lot. It definitely is. I make all the phone calls because she's the one who's gonna carry. Because I kind of just want to be that asshole that's like running through Central Park with like a 2-month-old baby. Like I don't know what happened. My body just bounced right back. Ah! Fuck me. I'm an asshole. So I've been making these phone calls, and it's really like it's such a calculated process because like everything is about timing, and you have to take all of these like fertility drugs because you don't even actually like have the power of the ejaculation of the sperm and all kind of. So you got to like take these fertility drugs to like make you ready, and it's a lot. There's a lot of like freaking timing, and then you got to call the insurance company to make sure that you can get the fertility drugs, and then you argue with them to get it covered because you're not actually infertile. We're just gay. You know what I mean? So it's like, ugh. So then after you get through that phone call, then it's like she has to ovulate in a certain day, and then I have to give her this injection of this thing, and then we got to get to the doctor's office as quickly as we can. We have like a 12-hour window where they ship the sperm from FedEx in liquid nitrogen, and they got to clean out the sperm, and like then they got to defrost it, and like you have this tiny little window, and she's like literally in the doctor's office with her legs up, and there's like a lot of people in the room. It is very uncomfortable, like 3 people. None of them are me looking at my girlfriend's vagina, and that's a lot. They're like shovels and rakes and implements of destruction, and like a zip line, a drum set. I don't know. God bless you, baby. God bless you. I'm like, I'm gonna be over here if you need anything. But it's a lot. But the last time we were in this process, literally, she's like sitting in that position, and the sperm does not arrive. And so I call FedEx, and I'm like, guys,
Where's our shipment? It's supposed to be here like an hour ago. And they're like, I'm sorry, our FedEx driver was late. You can pick up your mail, or your mail will be delivered off tomorrow. I'm like, our mail, it's not mail. I mean, it's mail. It is mail. It's mail. It's fucking mail, but it's not mail. You know, and I'm like, this conversation's about to get really uncomfortable for everybody. You're about to learn more than you wanted to know. It's bad, lesbians. Having babies, lesbians having babies, not bad, lesbians. But my mom, yeah, so I haven't really told her that part of it. I was just glad. She actually did meet Janet over Christmas. It went well. Yeah, she dug her. She loves that Janet's a criminal defense attorney. So she got her shit together, which is great. And there's a lot of people in my life, in my family, do a lot of stupid shit. So we got her in our back pocket. My mom's like, that's good. Well, that's good. We'll keep her. My God. But my mom, like, she still can't wrap her brain around the whole, like, marriage thing, and she thinks that the gays are fucking up the sanctity of marriage, and yeah, we're all gonna mess up the sanctity. You know what's really messed up the sanctity of marriage? The Bachelor, not the gays. Right? I don't know why she's like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, we just want to have the right to be as miserable as you straight people. I don't know why she's got such a position on it, you know? But, my God. My mom is like, she's been convincing me to like watch the Republican debates, and oh, I know, it's so painful. I can't, like, I'm having a hard time with it too, because especially now that I've moved to New York City, like I have this loyalty to like New Yorkers, and you see the debate with Ted Cruz and Donald Trump and the whole New York values thing. The thing is, like, the fact that Ted Cruz even attributes Donald Trump to New York values, like, now I'm insulted. Like, what is that? That is so painful. And then when they asked Ted Cruz what he defined as New York values, he said pro-gay and pro-abortion. What the fuck? Number one, yes to pro-gay. And pro-abortion, like, no one's pro-abortion. Like, no one's like, let's do this. You know what I mean? Like, it's inconvenient. Like, what the fuck? And then Anderson Cooper like threw him for a loop and asked him a few questions after, and was like, okay, so if we're not supposed to have an abortion, so these reckless teenage fertile boys that are just getting these women pregnant, so they should have these babies, but then should the gays be able to adopt these babies? And he said, no, we shouldn't, because then we're gonna have more gays, and then the gay people are gonna make more gays, and there's gonna be more gays and more gays. What the fuck is that? I don't know if you've noticed, but most of us gay people come from you straight folk. You the ones making the gays. Idiots. It's amazing to me. Some of the shit that conservative people say is so ignorant that it could potentially benefit us gays. Like, I remember during the last presidential election, Mitt Romney had this position. He said, look, I'm not trying to discriminate against our gay brothers and sisters. I believe that gay people have a handicap. I was like, well, that shit I will take. I want my blue little placard with 2 women fucking on it so I can park up front and center at the grocery store. Right? I don't have to wait in line in Disneyland anymore. I can pass all you straight people with kids. Can you imagine if I was like, excuse me, ma'am, miss, I know that you've been waiting in line for like 3 hours, but I like pussy, so I get to go first, okay? Small world after all, isn't that? Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna join the Special Olympics and kick everybody's ass. That's my plan. I don't get it. I had to stop. I had to put the kibosh with my mom. Be like, I can't watch any more Republican. Fuck, I'm dying here. I'm dying. My mom, She's not even. She hates that I get up there, get up here, and I like talk about this stuff too. She really is like, I don't understand. You got to get up there and you talk about being Latina and being a lesbian. And it's like, it's not even like spiritual. You're just like selling your soul. And like, what are you just going to get up there and tell everybody you're the brown part of the rainbow? And I'm like, that's fucking brilliant. Yep. My God. She's ridiculous. But she truly is like, I think it's amazing that she won't even admit that we're like of Latina descent. Like, I really did not know till like, I had no idea until like she didn't teach us any Spanish. I mean, I suspected we were Latina because I'm one of 6 siblings and none of us know our dads. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound. Slay. I never understood her whole like position on that. But I don't want to completely shit on my mom because she tried her best in a lot of ways. We were really poor growing up, and she like tried to hide that from us as best as she could. My sisters and I, we always wanted Cabbage Patch Kids, and we couldn't afford them, so my mom put them on layaway. And for 6 months, I just had visitation rights. You know that like ice cream truck that would go down the street and the bell would go off and all the kids would go running outside? My mom told me that bell meant the truck was empty. I was like, oh shit, it's empty again every time it comes down our street. This sucks. We'd have like English muffins like every single morning, and they would like start to go, like mold would get on just like one side of them, and she'd be like, girl, just scrape off that side and eat the good part. Just eat the good part. She was ridiculous. Oh my God, she tried, but I'm really lucky though because aside from my mother, I haven't had to deal with a lot of homophobic issues. I've lived in 2 pretty liberal cities, but I do find that people sort of respond bizarrely to my sexuality. Like when I say that I'm a complete lesbian, people are like, "Oh, you're a complete lesbian? Like you don't like guys at all?" I'm assuming that's because I flat iron my hair and I wear MAC Lovejoy on my cheeks. I get it. I'll get it. Or when I say that I think a guy is really attractive, some people are like, that's really weird. I thought you were a lesbian. I'm like, I am a lesbian. I don't have holograms over my eyes that make men look all fucking distorted. You know what I mean? I don't always want my sexuality to be spectacle, like the next topic of conversation. Like if straight people can be like, me and my girlfriend went to the store to buy milk or whatever, I should be able to be like, me and my girlfriend went to the store to buy soy milk or whatever without further discussion. But I'm not allowed that. What I get is, oh, your girlfriend? Like your girlfriend? I would have never thought that you were a lesbian. That's wonderful. When did you know? Like, that would never happen in the straight world, ever. Can you imagine, sir, if I came up to you and I was like, shut up, is that your girlfriend? Like your girlfriend? I would have never thought that you were straight. When did you know? What the fuck? Oh my God. Straight women, you guys gotta stop apologizing to me for being straight. It's okay. Like when I say I'm a lesbian, you're like, oh no, are you a lesbian? I get, no, I'm not, but I'm sorry, but I totally think it's a wonderful thing, and I'm so glad that you guys can get married now. It's like, oh my God. It's like, relax. It's okay to be who you are. I will tolerate you. Even doctors, like I'm actually very blessed to be going through this fertility process because I feel like doctors for the first time are aware that there are lesbians on the planet, because I recently, when I moved here, and I got insurance, which is really fun, because I'm a stand-up comic. I hadn't had insurance for many, many years. But so I get insurance and I do like my regular checkup, and my doctor says, or Renee, are you sexually active or whatever? I'm like, yeah, I'm sexually active. Oh, are you using condoms? I'm like, no, I don't use condoms. Do you use birth control? I'm like, no, I don't use birth control. My doctor says, well, you could be pregnant. Nope. Could not be pregnant. Could not be pregnant. It's like, really? Because you're of reproductive age and you're not. And I'm like, no, I could not be pregnant. And he keeps like hounding me. And he's like, Renee, why are you not taking me seriously? I can easily write your prescription. I'm like, there's no way I'm pregnant because my girlfriend's balls are made out of plastic. Right? I just don't get it. I don't understand. This is crazy. Oh my God. The gay thing cracks me up. Oh, what am I saying? Totally losing my train of thought. I told myself, I was like on my way here, I was listening to that, I'm in New York, concrete jungle, hair dreams. I'm like, anytime you forget something, Renee, just play that song in your head and it'll come back to you. So that's the plan. Oh, but I was gonna say, the gay thing, right? We're talking about lesbians. Here's the thing, my mother, guys, I have to say, she thinks I overdo the lesbian thing. She does. I have to agree with her. Like, I give her a lot of crap, but there have definitely been times where I've overdone the lesbian thing. It's true. Like this one time. Terry, I'm gonna tell this story. This one, my sister. I hope you've hit your 2-drink minimum, girl, because. But so this one time, when I was living in Los Angeles, my sister Terry comes to LA. My sister Terry, also a lawyer. I like to make sure that who I'm dating and I got all kinds of lawyers in my family. I can fuck up left and right. I'm gonna be great. But Terry's like a transactional lawyer. From what I understand, I mean, it's a very confusing profession for me. But like, I think she like writes bylaws for internet companies, which is like. Kind of like the prenups of businesses. I think that's sort of what happens. I don't know. Lots of good things happen from it. She has a beautiful house in the Berkshires. I don't know. Do it. It's wonderful. But I always feel like less than too because I don't really understand exactly what she does. But she comes to Los Angeles, right? And she has this big meeting where she's like going over these conferencing in like other countries and whatever, and some video chat thing, and I'm not really familiar with all this technology, so it's like going to rent out a conference room somewhere else, and she's like on the phone about trying to find a professional space, and I find myself getting really defensive, because I'm like, what? Why you gotta go to a professional space? Why can't you do it here in my apartment? Like, I don't even understand, and I'm like, I had a 2-bedroom apartment, my roommates happened to be out of town. I had a beautiful like cherry wood table. I'm like, just do it here. Like, what kind? You don't have that many. It's not like Mark Zuckerberg's gonna be here. It was like regular internet companies. I'm like, they can sit in my apartment. It's gonna be fine. I have a Wi-Fi network, And I get so defensive about this because like I just so want to be your peer. I'm like, no one cares that I say fart jokes for a living, and you actually have a home in the Berkshires, and I have no money in my bank account. It's fine. It's fine. You can have your meeting here. But in my defensiveness, I don't think this all the way through. So people like get to the apartment, right, and like. They're logging on to their computers, and my sister Terry turns to me and she's like, Renee, I need to know what your Wi-Fi network is so everybody can get on their computers. Oh, no. I'm like, you need to announce the Wi-Fi network to like everybody? Like in the whole room? She's like, Renee, I'm in the middle of trying to have a meeting. Will you just tell me what your Wi-Fi network is? I'm like, it's Lesbotronic. She's like, Lesbotronic? What the? All right, guys, so we're going to get on our computers and everybody just look for the Lesbotronic Wi-Fi network. I can just see her like with her searing eyes looking at me. I'm like, I'm sorry, a bunch of lesbians lived here. It made sense at the time. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Then the guy from Bing's like, it's asking for a security key. And I was like, Terry, isn't there a way to, like, on just one computer, you could just manually type it in, and it comes up on everybody else's computers? Like, what kind of technology is it you have to type it in? Because if you just manually type it in, then all the dots just come across on other people's screens. You don't have to actually say the password to everybody else. She's like, Renee, stop. I'm like, the password is carpet muncher. Fucking Avery. My poor sister has put up with a lot of my bullshit. She really has. She really has. I had my niece visit me one time in Los Angeles, too, and she was like 15 at the time. Oh my God, this is... I'm sorry, Risa, I'm doing it again. Keep drinking. I'm gonna tell another story. But my niece comes to visit me, and I'd been begging to let her, to have her let Avery come visit me, because she was like 15 at the time, you know, and I'm like, it's fine, she can fly by herself, it's gonna be great, I'm gonna take great care of her, like, I'm totally responsible, nothing's gonna go awry, it's gonna be fine. So she lets her, and Avery flies all the way here, and so I go to pick Avery up at the airport, and I keep circling, and she just like doesn't come out, and the TSA officer is like, ma'am, why are you waiting? Who are you waiting for? And he said, well, I'm waiting for my niece, but she's an unaccompanied minor. And he said, oh, well, you can't just you got to park, you got to go inside, you got to pick them up all the way at the plane. And I was like, I got to park. And I realized when I looked down that I had these like cargo pants on that had like lots of things hanging off of them. Like, you know, the store Claire, it was like Claire's was hanging off my pants. You know? So it was like the worst, like, not airport unfriendly attire you could possibly have on your body. So I go through the security, and then, like, of course, the buzzer goes off, and the lady's like, do you have anything in your pockets? And I'm like, no, I don't have anything in my fucking pockets. I have a kitchen set hanging off my pants. It's probably my pants. She got all, like, annoyed with me. She's like, I'm sorry, you're going to have to go into this private room here and be strip searched. You can follow Elaine. And I was like, oh, and Elaine comes out with, you know, business in the front, and the party in the back, and the wallet in her. And I was like, this is why you give lesbians a bad name, Elaine. All right, let's go. Damn it. So we go all the way to this back room, and, you know, like the whole thing, I get strip searched. I'm all upset because my underwear don't match my bra. I wasn't really planning on this. And she makes me put my, like, cell phone and my keys in this little, like, Tupperware on the side, and I'm all frazzled. I can hear my phone going off. I know my niece is, like, absolutely, like, panicked because I'm still not there. And so I'm like, oh my God, okay, finally I get out of there, and I rush over to the plane, and I'm like, Avery, I'm sorry, see, what happened was, it was not. Anyways, let's go, and we run all the way out, we go to the baggage claim, I grab one of her bags, I put it on my shoulder, I'm like, we'll call your mom in just a second. We get all the way out to the car, and I realize I don't have my keys and my cell phone. I left it in the bin with Elaine. So I was like, shit. So we go all the way back in the airport, but I don't want Avery to have to, like, deal with all of this. So I tell Avery, I'm like, you know what? Just wait down here at the Starbucks. I'm just gonna go upstairs real quick. I'm gonna explain my situation. I'm just gonna grab the keys and the cell phone. We'll be out of here in like 2 seconds. Don't even worry about it. So I get back upstairs and I explain myself, and I'm like, I was just here, and I went through security, and it was a thing, and I don't want to go through security again. And the officer's like, you don't want to go through security, ma'am? Like, no. I do want to go through security. I just went through security, and I waited in line I'm not trying to have, like, an explosive attitude. Oh, you have explosives? I'm like, no, I don't. Fuck. I don't have I was just there, and then whatever. So they make me go through security. They tell me to put the bag on the belt. I put the bag on the belt, and then we was yelling at each other, and all of a sudden the bag goes off. He said, ma'am, what's in the bag? I say, I don't know. It's not my bag. So needless to say, I had another meeting with Elaine. And Elaine asked me, she's like, well, may I ask why you're back again? And I'm like, well, I'm here to just pick up an unaccompanied minor. And I'm not even flying. She's like, really? You're here to get an unaccompanied, where's your unaccompanied minor? I'm like, she downstairs at the Starbucks unaccompanied. Shit. That's no good. I love my niece. My niece is obsessed with, like, apps on the phones. You know, she always telling me to download apps and stuff. And she told me to download this app. Well, there's this app, this GPS app where you can actually change your GPS's voice, which is great because I get so sick of Surrey, you know? She's so boring. So I downloaded, like, Angry Irishman that yells at you every time he has to recalibrate. It's great. He's like, what? You don't fucking trust me? I got a satellite over my head. Fucking love him. Keeps me focused. My niece also told me to download this app called Snooze. Have you guys heard of this? It's a real app. It's the greatest app in the entire world because it makes you donate 50 cents to a charity that you don't support every time you press snooze. So your ass wakes up. It's literally freaking brilliant, right? I'm not even joking. So I was like, I signed up for like everybody-should-have-lots-of-guns.org, you know? Like, sign me up, right? And now I don't even hit snooze. It's like I have this internal clock. I wake up like, I can't. If I see another goddamn mass shooting, I'm up, world. You're welcome. Fuck. I can't. Greatest idea ever. I love it. Snooze is, but I got it. Thank you. But, you know, I've given my family a lot of shit. But one thing about, I've come around too. I've gotten a lot of things right. 6 years ago, I got clean and sober. Thank you guys. You can clap for them. You already did clap for that. I swear I said that second. But yeah, you know, it took me a really long time to realize that I was a drug addict. You know, there were signs. There were signs. Like this one time, I took apart my refrigerator and I put it back together after I painted it red. I'd like done too much crystal meth. I'm like, I don't know what to do with my hands. I would just like sit in front of a TV for just hours and hours and just zone out, and it wasn't on. This one time I went to downtown Los Angeles to score an 8-ball, and I came back like 5 months later. I was like, oh, jeez, I don't have an apartment? Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna start again, begin again. Let's do it. Whatever. Fine. So finally, like I went to rehab in 2005, and when I got to rehab, they called me Centrum because I took every drug from A to Z. I didn't have a drug of choice, you know, and everybody's like, you gotta have a drug of choice. Everybody has a drug of choice, Renee. What's your drug of choice? I'm like, God, I don't know. Yours, more, and free. I think. Pretty much it. Although I did have an affinity for pills, I'm not gonna lie. I did. And if my name was on the bottle, even better, but not necessary. Not necessary. I loved rehab. We didn't do a lot, you know? We just like sat around, believe it or not, like we just sat around and like friggin' watched TV. But the TV, like you couldn't change the channel because they put the TV up really high, and so we just had to watch like A&E, like loops of Intervention and Hoarders, you know? Just like over and over and over again. It was awful. I had an epiphany one day. I was like, dude, I totally know how to stop hoarding. Get them all addicted to crack. They'll sell all their shit. Oh, shit. But then you get out of rehab and you like start going to meetings, and they have this whole policy in meetings that it's like principles before personalities, and everybody's got to like share their story, and you got to let, because it could affect their recovery. And there's this like 83-year-old Russian woman named Magda, who's always trying to come up with reasons why she could use Vicodin and it would not count as a relapse. She's like, okay, Magda, you're an addict. What if I were to go to dentist, they take out teeth I do not need, you know? And then I get some more Vicodin. No, it's no, okay, it's no good. Okay. Okay, Magda, you're an addict. Okay. What if I were to walk into crosswalk, you know? I pretend to not see car, and then car hits me, and I get some more Vicodin. No? Okay, no, okay. We're like, Magda, you can't do that. But one of the things I love the most about being an addict is I do have so many like wonderful, normal people in my life that they really are incredibly kind and supportive of me. And I just feel like I reference the world very different than them, you know, like regular people, they hear the word blackout and they think power outage. you hear the word connection and you think internet. Now where I go, right? So I just feel like I'm not on the playing field. I heard this woman I was recently at the airport and this woman was talking to her husband. She had a wisdom tooth removed or something, and she was like, "Oh shit, honey, I forgot my Vicodin." I just remember thinking, she forgot her Vicodin. Dude, I'd forget my boarding pass, my underwear. The Vicodin would have been the first fucking shit in that bag. What? That's amazing to me. But I do, my friend Mike took me out for my anniversary last year, and he was like, he orders a virgin pina colada, right? And he goes, "Renee, I want you to know that this is a virgin pina colada, but I totally respect your sobriety, but wait, I'm sorry, is this a trigger for you because it looks like alcohol?" I was like, "Well, water looks like vodka." I don't freak out in the shower. Can you imagine him in the shower like, "Oh my God, you gotta turn this off. I'm getting the shakes. I cannot. I go to Starbucks and I'm like, "Barista, you can't put sugar in that coffee because then I'm gonna start stealing shit and because it looks like blow and it's not gonna be good for anybody. You just can't do it. It's bad. It's fucking bad." Man, if there was a pill that could cure my addiction, I would take 2. Let's just be honest. But my first sponsor at a rehab was a triathlete, and I love this lady because she really inspired me to do something different with my life. But I love that she was also sort of a badass because she had been in the Olympics and had gotten kicked out of the Olympics for using performance-enhancing drugs. Yeah, so I asked her one day at practice, I was like, "What performance-enhancing drug did you use?" You know what she said? Weed. Have you guys ever smoked weed? There is nothing performance-enhancing about weed. Unless you put a fucking Hershey's bar at the end of a swimming pool, that is not going to enhance my performance. It's fucking amazing. She always had weird suggestions too. During my first race, she was like, during the race, you gotta pee in your wetsuit. So you gotta, because you never know, it's a really long race. Along the course, there's not gonna be porta potties. That's your opportunity. You gotta pee in the wetsuit. And you should practice peeing in the wetsuit. I'm like, all right, well, if it's race day and I gotta go, I'll pee in my wetsuit. Well, I don't feel like I need to practice peeing in my wetsuit. I'm gonna be fine, you know? So race day comes. And it's a really cold race, so I have this super tight winter wetsuit, with the booties and the hole and the full arms or whatever. And all of a sudden I'm swimming and I'm like, "Oh, I gotta pee." It's go time. So, but the thing about this is, I'm swimming horizontal to the water, right? And so when you pee, I didn't think this, there's only one place for the pee to escape. My fucking neck. So all of a sudden I'm swimming and I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm peeing on my face. I'm peeing on my face." And then I stopped and the stream just kept coming. I'm like, I'm drinking my own urine. I'm literally drinking my own urine. And this is why they practice. Oops. My bad. One of our last open water swims, I did a race in Malibu, California, and we used to do these open water swims on Saturdays. And my coach would put the buoys out about a half a mile, and then you'd swim parallel to the shore, and then you'd swim a half a mile back in. But this one day, the buoys were only out a quarter of a mile. And so I inquired about this. And she had no fear and was just very informative. And she was like, "Oh, don't even worry about it. It's shark mating season. They usually mate they're about a half a mile out. And so the mommy sharks will introduce the teenage sharks into the wild. And so we just wanted to be safe. So we pulled them in a quarter of a mile." I don't know if this happens in the shark world, but what I may or may not have veered off at least a quarter of a mile from where the fuck I was supposed to be when I was a teenager. So I'm just saying. Some defiant shark's gonna be like, I don't even want to mate right now. I see a bunch of seals over there. I'm gonna go get me a snack. No way, right? Oh my God. This is totally flown by. I'm like hitting my leg. Oh my God. Oh my God, this is totally sticky. It's so weird getting lighted at a comedy show, don't you guys think? I wish I could get lighted, like, in a regular conversation with people that you didn't want to talk to. Wouldn't that be great? You know, you could just be like mid-thought and be like, oh, I'm sorry, I gotta go. I'll see you later. So when my manager was looking for a venue for me, he was like, well, he looked all over the city. He found the Metropolitan Room. We really love the Metropolitan Room, but they were like, it's a musical. Oh yeah, right. Let's give it hands. But he said, here's the loophole. I'm on the phone with him. He's like, it's a musical venue, so you have to play music. Do you play music, Renee? And I'm like, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Sign me up. Pick a date. Let's do this. So I started taking guitar lessons 5 months ago. So I'm gonna end my set with a song. You guys ready for this? Wait for it. Oh dear God, yeah. That is actually how you should feel. I can't promise this is gonna be any good. Seriously, I don't know really what I'm doing at all. This is actually only the second song that I've ever written in my entire life. The song is sort of like a culmination of the night. I was like, how am I gonna wrap up Renee Santos and put in a song? So that's what this is. But shit, do I have enough time to give a little snippet of my first?
Sure.
All right, okay. You guys want a little snippet of the first song I ever wrote? Yeah. And then I'll get in the other one. The first song I ever wrote, it's called Wait, Wait. It was a little something like this. Wait, 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 wait. Shit, wait a minute. Wait, 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 wait. Wait, wait, wait. I envy straight white girls and folks who are pedestrian. There are no good role models for being Latina and lesbian in the gay bars in LA. When you're sucking on your Chardonnay, just look for the sober girls dancing kinda drunk anyway. I'm unique like a snowflake, but LA's no place for snow. It's lonely out there in the brown part of the rainbow. Thanks, Mom! Ellen Page finally came out. Holy shit, I was glad. But there's still no one waving the Latina lesbo flag. So when you come out to your loved ones, they won't know how to cope. When your Catholic family hangs pictures of the Pope. I'm not unique because I like this. I don't do this just for show. It's lonely out there in the brown part of the rainbow. So I moved to New York City, where no one cares if you're pretty, 'cause here they actually value art. I didn't fuck anybody to get my start. So when you come to a club in Midtown, even when the snow's bound to come down, you'll laugh at my bit. You know, my resume is not what makes me legit. I'm unique and New York likes it. So fuck it, I'll take the snow. The intellectual superiority, culture in a Broadway show. Now Sofia Vergara and Chiquita, you know their hips don't lie. If they can be Latina and sexy, why can't I? So hasta la vista, babies, amigos, I gotta go. I'm still looking for my pot of gold and the brown part of the rainbow. Still looking for my pot of gold and the brown part of the rainbow. Thank you guys, I'm Renee Santos.
Ladies and gentlemen, Renee Santos.